I wanted to do a really long road to glory, so I've decided to choose Notts County. Our goal is to play a season in the top division, which Notts haven't done since 1991. But we also have two other twists. We'll be starting in the National League thanks to the EEP mod, and we're only going to be allowed to sign players from other East Midlands sides. So that means all our players will be going from Forest, Leicester, Derby, Lincoln or Mansfield, and to make things even harder, we won't even be using our academy. Our squad looks more than good enough to be promoted at least the first time, and we all know Wrexham's is even better. It looks like it's going to be a straight fight for the title. So let's introduce our manager. Luke Williams is only 42 years old and he's desperate to redeem himself after an awful spell as Swindon manager 5 seasons ago. He wants to be the one to lead Notts back into the top flight. The squad is actually already full of players from other East Midlands clubs. Captain John Bostock used to anchor Forest midfield, Sam Slocum is a former Lincoln goalkeeper, and midfielder Matt Palmer used to play for Burton. While we have a pretty big budget for the level, we can't compete with the likes of Wrexham. Before the season starts, they load in Kyle Gordon from Liverpool and Billy Cargill joins from Forest Green, while we only have enough money to pick up Kieran Wallace on a super cheap transfer. Before we knew it, it was time for our National League campaign to begin. Our first game was against Chesterfield, as close to a rivalry as we'll be getting this season. It seemed that Williams was struggling to control the game in the first half, but his first win got the fans on side straight away. A few more games passed, first against Wealdstone, and then one against Solihull Moors. Some good results straight away, and already Notts County fans were thinking this could be their year. Time passed and October had the biggest date of the season yet, Wrexham at home. Meadow Lane was buzzing, a total sellout with 20,000 fans, both Forest and County fans, flocking to see this match. We went one down early thanks to a few mistakes that were creeping into our game for the first time. Half-time came and suddenly we looked like a totally different team. We were pressing forwards and we managed to score just before the 60th minute. We then went 2 down though, and it looked like we could be collapsing. With 30 minutes to try and find an equaliser, we kept pushing for another goal. We did have a few decent chances and we kept attacking all the way until the end. But there was nothing County could do. The game would end 2-1, but we do actually manage to stay top of the National League by just 1 point. Somehow we managed to stay in first place into December, but you can feel the tension starting to build in the squad. We've been in this position before, crumbling after leading the league at the halfway point. That's exactly why playoffs make every single Notts County fan nervous. 4 of the past 5 seasons, we've actually lost in them, with us being relegated in the other season. We need to make sure that this January puts us in the best position possible to confirm this title. We actually get a huge £700,000 offer for Ruben Rodriguez. He's our best playmaker, but he wants to leave. We can't have an unhappy player, so he'll be playing in League One for the rest of this season. In his final match, he puts in a man of the match performance and stretches our lead at the top to 3 points. As the news strikes that Rodriguez is leaving, morale throughout the whole team drops. We'll need to replace him, and it looks like Will Swan could be the best option. Swan is only 21 years old and he's from Nottingham. The former Forest striker joins Notts County from Mansfield. In his first game he doesn't score. He doesn't score in his second game or his third or his fourth either. Have we just made the biggest mistake that means we're forced into 5th tier football again next season? With first place now lost, we head down to Hampshire to face Eastleigh FC. Once again, we start with Swan and Langstaff up front, but something very strange happens. Swan gets into a good position, and finally he blasts in his first goal. 10 minutes later, again, Swan is there with the finish. On a hat-trick, we win a penalty. Swan picks up the ball, but decides to give it to John Bostock. Finally, we're back in some form, and we do need to be right now. We're 5 points behind Wrexham, with just 8 games left to go in the season. Thankfully though, one of those 8 games is against the Welsh side. 4 games later, and we've managed to get the gap down to just 2 points, but it is finally time for this game against Wrexham. The anticipation is huge. We don't want to risk the playoffs, so we need to win this game. We've sent our scouts out to watch Wrexham's last 2 matches, and we've noticed a few things about how they play. Their wingbacks are fast, but our wingers are faster. We've noticed their centre-backs are tall, but super slow on the ball. And we've also noticed they struggle whenever a defensive midfielder can cut the passing lanes between Mullin and Ollie Palmer. So we decide to switch from our usual 4-4-2 into a 4-5-1 formation. Bostock will be anchoring and trying to cut as many lanes as possible. Namane and Jones are going to be crucial on the wing, and after a 2-hour bus ride to the racecourse ground in Wrexham, the final team talk is complete. Both teams enter the pitch and the game already feels like it has the atmosphere of a playoff final. We tried to set up in a way where we could get an early goal and then try and defend our lead for the rest of the match. With Cameron and Bajami being two of the best centre-backs in the division, if we could get an early goal, we would have a really good chance of doing exactly that. Will Swan would force a corner with an early shot, which was well saved by Howard, but we do have a very good corner taker. He would blast one in, Langstaff would jump highest, hit the crossbar, and his rebound header couldn't quite make it over Howard, but that was already 2 or 3 shots in the first 5 minutes. We were trying to make things horrible for Wrexham here, diving into tackles, but they were making it tough for us as well. Palmer got through one-on-one, and it was a great save from Slocum. You do think that maybe Paul Mullin would have scored that goal. Bostock was dominating the midfield. The ball bobbled up for Will Swan, and the volley was probably the right option. It did nearly find the net. So with half-time coming, we kept pressing, trying to get this goal early in the first half. Bad touch there from O'Connor, and Palmer wins the ball. He's got both our strikers ahead of him and Bostock next to him. He goes for the shot himself, and he did force a good save, but probably was a better option on right there. Palmer again on the attack, this time finds Bostock. Bostock out to O'Brien on the left wing. Bostock back into Will Swan, to Palmer again to Will Swan, and his shot is on target, but unfortunately it's a very tame effort. So can we win the header here? We can. Palmer gives it to Bostock, but there's a dive in there from behind from Paul Mullin. He knows John Bostock's the playmaker, so I think he's tried to lay a hit on him. And it's a red card as well. I'm pretty shocked that was a red, but it was a pretty hard tackle looking at that. A proper scissor, and you can see why that is given as a red card. So County now attacking versus 10 men. They've got a big overlap over here. I don't think that's related to the red card. But another shot, another great save there from Howard. He's going to be the one that's going to try and keep Wrexham in this game. Centre-back Cameron now to Palmer. He's hit a few from here. He hits another one and it goes through the goalkeeper. He does a Trevella shot straight through the goalkeeper. Terrible keeping and a really average shot, but somehow 1-0 to County. Howard gets the ball, tries to throw it out. It's won though by Bostock, and Adam Chickson's through 1-on-1, and that is 2-0. Somehow Notts County have turned this around. They were struggling quite a lot before the red card, but since then we have absolutely been on top. I think Paul Mullin might have cost Wrexham the title in this match with that stupid tackle. There is still a few seconds left to go though, so Notts County are going to do what they do. They're going to press high, they're going to win a corner. It's going to be the last chance of the game probably, but it's not going to matter because Notts County are going to end up winning this one 2-0 unless they score here. The referee blows his whistle and County win one of the most dramatic games of the season. With only 3 games to go, we have a 1-point lead in first place. We win the first game, we win the second game, and despite the tension going into this last match, we go on to win that one as well. We end the season with 6 wins in a row, and Wrexham will finish second, just 1 point behind us. We've managed to do it. The Magpies are going to be in League 2 next season. Sure, some of our better players might fancy a move higher up the pyramid, but we can finally have the money to keep them around if we really want to keep them. Our squad is going to go right in there as one of the best in the league, so back-to-back promotions is definitely possible for Notts County. We decide to send out our scouts to every East Midlands club. We can strengthen with tons of higher quality free agents, but this set of players already has a really tight bond. We overcame the loss of Ruben Rodriguez, we powered through Swan's goal drought, and we managed to beat Wrexham in a super high pressure game. All in all, it was an amazing season for Notts County, and hopefully you'll be back to see how Luke Williams and the boys will get on in League 2, with that episode coming out in just a couple of days. Until then though, check out the playlist on screen for another series I've made in the past, and thank you for watching. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Cheers and goodbye.